Have you been hanging out with Meghan and Harry since they've been in California?
No. You know, you're just fragile. They're ridiculous after that. They want it both ways.
My friends, while she never stops whining.
Bill Maher just shredded Meghan Markle on live TV, exposing her fake victim act and cringe podcast theatrics for sympathy points.
No, but she is a malignant narcissist who cannot get enough of herself while she simultaneously plays the victim.
Meanwhile, Prince Harry used King Charles's cancer battle as a PR weapon, sparking massive outrage. The royal pity parade is crashing hard and the world's finally done clapping.
You're complaining about your hard life and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
Meghan recorded on a podcast titled With Love, Meghan. I mean, who even named this thing? That title sounds like a failed Hallmark movie or a perfume no one asked for. Anyway, the whole gimmick was supposed to be her big no-makeup redemption arc, like we'd all forget the past 5 years because she slapped on a fake tear and whispered about jam.
Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, in her first ever podcast interview.
It's happening! It's not about the grandeur of a gesture. It's about I see you.
Why don't you like her?
I just threw up a little in my mouth.
What?
Let me count the ways. There's nothing I like about her.
Within hours of the podcast dropping, people were dragging her like she was auditioning for Drag Me to Hell 2. And I'm not talking about the usual tabloid mob either. This wasn't the Daily Mail. This was regular people, fed up, exhausted, and finally just flat out done pretending she's relatable.
While she simultaneously plays the victim. My castle's too small.
Yeah.
The queen is mean to me. They won't let me call myself Her Royal Highness anymore, but I'm gonna put it all over my stationery and on the gifts that I give to my friends, while she never stops whining.
Then along came Bill Maher. And I've never clapped harder at a TV screen. This man did what Buckingham Palace couldn't. He obliterated Meghan's whole act on live TV. No filter, no sugarcoating. He mocked her ridiculous victim speeches, the non-stop whining, the royal tantrums, the spiritual trauma over tea temperatures, all of it.
These people were so mean to us and poor us, and we don't want all this attention. And then let me write a book about how much we don't want attention.
He called her out as a privileged, performative, self-absorbed fraud. And people loved it. It went viral like wildfire on X and TikTok. Suddenly, everyone was saying what we were all thinking, but too polite to scream. Meghan Markle is fake, she's not interesting, and her emotional stunts are as believable as her acting career.
I thought South Park did. We want our privacy. They
summed
it up really.
They just strike me as creatures of that generation. You know, you're just fragile.
Let's talk about the crown jewel of cringe, her crying segment. This woman stared straight into the camera and tried to sell us tears. One perfect tear from her left eye. Mid-sentence, right on cue. She really thought we wouldn't notice. Except we've all seen that Suits promo clip where she brags about crying on command.
From Montecito about how no one can work for her. She's a nightmare behind the scenes, and not toward the betterment of her staff, just because she's an insecure person who takes it out on other people.
Remember that? She literally said, left eye go, snapped her fingers, and boom. There it was. Then she giggled like it was the cutest party trick ever. So yeah, when that same tear showed up in the podcast, people zoomed in and called BS in record time. You can't cry for sympathy when your tear ducts are on a script schedule.
While she never stops whining. And at the same time, I'm getting all worked up. I'm a founder. I'm over it. She's not important. She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled she became a, quote, princess.
Well, you can...
Now here's where it gets even more ridiculous. This whole show was sold to us as Meghan, unfiltered and raw. The promo kept repeating, no glam, no filter, just the real Meghan. But when the podcast finally dropped, surprise, surprise, she looked like she just stepped off a magazine cover. Her skin was glowing like a Neutrogena commercial. Her hair was so perfectly blown out, Beyonce would have asked for her stylist's number. And let's not ignore the professional lighting setup that made her studio look like a Hollywood set.
From the beginning, she denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
So, wait, is this no makeup or the launch of a new skincare brand? Because if this is raw Meghan, then I guess I've been doing natural wrong my whole life. And honestly, who was she fooling? Even casual viewers picked up on the deception. The whole thing felt like she was mid-photo shoot and decided to hit record for a podcast.
She suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human.
And let's not forget the guest, Jamie Kern-Lima. This woman is a billionaire. She built a cosmetics empire. And in this episode, she played the role of Meghan's emotional hype girl. Every 5 seconds, it was, "You're glowing, Meghan. Your soul is beautiful. You look stunning with no makeup. Excuse me, are we podcasting or doing a Disney Channel audition for a fairy godmother role?
In that clip we ran there, to remind us, she's a regular person, Maureen. She's a working mom. So she gets what it's like to be a working mom. Here's the clip.
I will say for myself, like, especially when they're babies. And yes, the crying. Before I was a mom, and I've always wanted to be a mom.
At one point, Jamie literally squealed, "Your eyes are sparkling right now." I nearly threw my phone. It was less of a podcast and more of a live-action Instagram caption. There wasn't one genuine question, no challenge, no pushback, just an hour-long applause track disguised as a conversation. If you played a drinking game where you took a shot every time Jamie complimented Meghan, you'd need liver surgery by minute 15. And while we're here, let's talk about the behind-the-scenes leaks. Turns out Meghan had prepared the entire episode in advance. That spontaneous tear, that raw honesty, yeah, all scripted. Every line was part of a perfectly staged rollout for her next brand push. The only thing raw about that show was the audience's second-hand embarrassment. One critic nailed it perfectly. If this is what no makeup looks like, what does she wear to the Oscars? Starlight and moon dust. Because let's be real, that wasn't authenticity, it was advertising. And now we get to my absolute favourite moment, the one that truly proved Meghan is beyond parody, the jam scandal. Yes, I said jam. Midway through the episode, an innocent image pops up. A little basket of jam and ice cream she allegedly gifted to a friend. Sounds cute, right? But look closely. The card on top says Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex.
But now that she's a working mom, Maureen, she's realizing it's just so hard, the life-work balance, notwithstanding your huge mansion and your full staff and the fact that you're married to a prince. She understands the plight of working women across America.
I'm sorry, what? HRH, the same title she was officially stripped of after Megxit, the same title she was explicitly told not to use in public or private, but here she is throwing it onto jars of jam like it's a monogrammed napkin. What is this, a royal power move via strawberry preserves?
And I love being that busy.
Make it end. Make it end. What is this?
You're never going to convince anyone that you're authentic.
Social media went feral. One comment that went viral said it best, you can't cry poor while signing gifts like a queen. And they're right, you don't get to play the underdog while flexing the very title you claim destroyed your mental health. You walked away from the crown, yet here you are clinging to it like a desperate influencer who peaked in 2018.
That's another thing, she killed the queen.
She did kill the queen.
Critics roasted her for what it was, branding manipulation. Plain and simple, that jam wasn't just jam, it was Meghan's last thread of royal association, printed in gold cursive and delivered with a side of fake humility, and honestly, it's pathetic. If she really wanted to be just Meghan the mum, she wouldn't be labelling grocery items with a title she lost in 2020.
She understands the plight of working women across America.
Clearly she does. And also, I'm curious as to how she was going to give said speeches with a baby on her hip when Prince Harry has said the reason they left was largely to keep their children completely out of the public eye.
Right. Which she wants us to remind us of, that she's a princess and she was part of the royal family. That's why she couldn't give the speeches.
You know what this all boils down to? Meghan Markle wants to be Oprah when it suits her and Cinderella when it sells. But what we're actually getting is neither, but it's just a PR machine dressed in pastel sweaters, slinging jam and trauma stories for clout. And the worst part, she's dragging Harry through all of it. A man who, let's be honest, gave up everything, his family, his country, his dignity, to stand behind a woman who treats him like a stepping stone in her influencer rebrand.
I think she's a malignant narcissist who is a truly terrible person.
I know.
And yet here we are. Another podcast, another scandal, another reminder that when Meghan Markle cries on camera, it's not vulnerability, it's marketing. When Bill Maher decided to drag Meghan Markle, he didn't just throw shade, he threw a solar eclipse. This wasn't light roasting, this was full rotisserie. On live HBO, he said, and I quote, "The only billion-dollar idea she had was marrying a prince." Boom. Dead. Gone. Let's pack it up, guys.
It's not my country, and it's
do you
stupid.
care about the royal family?
Of course not. It's an anachronism, and it's. I've said this to people who are royals to their face. I'm not going to call you Your Highness.
There's nothing left of her credibility but the scented ashes of a failed brand launch. And finally, a mainstream voice stood up and said what the rest of us were yelling into the void for years. Meghan Markle is not misunderstood, she's not oppressed. She's a walking, talking marketing deck in designer flats.
It's too much for me. There's only small doses of that podcast I can consume.
Meghan, how are you?
How are you?
I know you always make it about it.
Maher didn't even break a sweat. He mocked her tone-deaf whining about her struggles, which apparently include private schools, luxury nannies and baskets of jam probably grown, stirred and blessed by fairy tale woodland creatures. Let's just be honest here. This woman is living in a $14 million Montecito mansion, and she's out here talking like she's rationing powdered milk in a war zone. Maher called it out perfectly. You're not struggling, you're branding trauma in yoga pants.
I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard.
And there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle that she's chosen.
And guess what? The people ate it up. His takedown racked up 2.5 million views across YouTube and TikTok in just 72 hours. Why? Because people were relieved that someone in Hollywood had the guts to say what every exhausted viewer already felt, that Meghan isn't a victim, she's a full-time victim impersonator. She's out here crying in high definition while slinging emotional buzzwords like a self-help chatbot.
Also is pretending that she's crying. If we zoomed in just to see, there isn't a tear in sight. Look at this. Where's the tear?
Candace Owens.
And Bill Maher, with the precision of a surgeon and the glee of a stand-up comic with nothing left to lose, stripped her whole authenticity campaign down to its designer seams. Now let's talk about that disaster of a podcast, because calling it a podcast feels generous. What we witnessed was not a conversation. It was a multi-million-dollar group therapy session where only Meghan got to talk. The guest, Jamie Kern-Lima, billionaire businesswoman, showed up just to play Meghan's personal cheerleader.
Dan, when you do interviews on your show, do you do the Jamie Kern-Lima reactions? Yes. Oh my God, there's something wrong with her.
You're so beautiful, Meghan. Your eyes are sparkling, Meghan. You're so relatable, Meghan. Honestly, I've seen ventriloquist dolls with more independent thought. Not one hard question, not one moment of challenge, just a never-ending feedback loop of praise.
She really wants attention. And so this is really her biggest PR problem, that she thinks she can hire consultants to solve or hire Netflix to solve, but it's not going to work.
This all blew up.
And Meghan, she took every compliment like it was oxygen, nodding, smiling, circling everything back to herself, her pain, her journey, her brand. Every time Jamie blinked, Meghan used it as an opening to remind us she's been through so much. While sipping organic tea in a mansion with a team of staff most single mums would consider a small army.
This is a joke, and I'm tired of some of these media outlets continuing to elevate this.
And don't get me started on the emails to her kids thing. Meghan proudly announced that every night she writes long, heartfelt emails to her 2 children. Sounds sweet until you realise the kids are toddlers, can't read, don't own laptops, don't even know what an inbox is. The internet went wild. One viral comment said, "You know what this is? This is Meghan Markle performing motherhood like it's part of a PR campaign. It's performance parenting. It's not look at my love, it's look at my optics." The worst part, she really thought this was her second chance, her phoenix moment rising from the Spotify ashes, but all she did was repackage the same nonsense that already flopped once.
Before I was a mom, I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna give a speech with a baby on my hip. I had a whole vision. I was like, I'm just gonna. And then you fast forward, granted I had a lot of external things happening by the time I had.
And speaking of flopping, yes, even Spotify dumped her. After she wasted millions delivering what was basically audio wallpaper, they quietly cut ties. No love lost, no conscious uncoupling us about just a big red cancel button and a memo that said, "We're good, thanks." And now she's doing the same act again. Same plot, same script, new platform. But critics were clear, this wasn't a podcast. It was a live-action brochure for Meghan Markle, coming soon to an overpriced lifestyle aisle near you.
Everything they do seems so manipulative, calculated, PR motivated, money motivated.
Now let's move on to Prince Harry, or as I now call him, Meghan's emotional support ginger. Because the man is clearly in distress, but instead of healing, he's on national television blaming his own family for everything from security issues to, I don't know, probably the weather, to, in a BBC interview, he had the audacity to say, "I don't know how much longer my father has," while whining about not having royal security. Let's get this straight. Meghan Markle's idea of a career revival includes inviting Chrissy Teigen, yes, that Chrissy Teigen, as a guest for season 2 of With Love, Meghan. Now pause right there. This is the same Chrissy Teigen who was literally exposed for cyberbullying a 16-year-old girl and telling her, and I quote, "Go kill yourself." You'd think Meghan, queen of curated PR, would maybe, just maybe, avoid teaming up with someone so radioactive. But no, Meghan saw the fire and thought, you know what this dumpster needs? More gasoline.
It's like, whoa,
well, and she's a bully. I mean, the reports were uniformly from inside the castle that all the young women in particular who worked for her quit in tears. She so wore them down and was so nasty. Then when she started her own company.
And let's be honest, Chrissy and Meghan together on screen, that's not a podcast. That's a live broadcast of emotional damage. two women with a long history of public drama, both trying to fake vulnerability while holding their brand logos up to the camera. It's not a vibe, it's a warning sign. And actual PR professionals, the people who get paid to clean up image disasters, called this move exactly what it is: self-sabotage. When your reputation is already hanging by a thread and your audience has already hit the unsubscribe button emotionally, the last thing you do is invite another scandal magnet into your fake healing circle.
She feels guilty about the $150 million she grifted off of being a...
But you know what? It makes sense. Meghan has always been obsessed with surrounding herself with fame, not character. We're not talking about people with integrity, we're talking about who has the biggest Instagram following and the most blue check marks. She treats celebrity proximity like it's social currency, and if someone is trending, even for the worst reasons, she wants in. But pairing up with Chrissy Teigen isn't bold, it's not edgy, it's just desperate. And speaking of desperate, let's talk about the power dynamics in Meghan's so-called love story with Prince Harry. According to journalist Valentine Lowe's book Courtiers, Meghan allegedly threatened to leave Harry if he didn't go public with their relationship. That's right, the loving private duchess who said she was hunted by the media. Yeah, she was behind the scenes demanding headlines.
She's a bully. I mean, the reports were uniformly from inside the castle.
Imagine being so fixated on fame that you hold emotional blackmail over a man still mourning his mother, just so you can have your name in the press. That's not romance, that's manipulation with an engagement ring. It gets worse. Harry's friends couldn't stand her, they didn't even hide it. The guys who've known Harry since Eton, who partied with him, stood by him during the darkest chapters, yeah, they reportedly despised Meghan from the jump. And why? Because she made it clear, it's her way or the private jet runway. She wasn't interested in blending in, she wanted control. Total, blinding, all-consuming control. If you're as done with Meghan's drama as the rest of us, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more truth bombs every week.